We all know stress is bad for us. It can leave us feeling drained, anxious, and overwhelmed. But have you ever noticed that when life gets really stressful, your belly seems to grow faster than the rest of your body? That stubborn belly fat isn't just a coincidence. It's your body's very intentional response to stress. Today, we're going to unpack exactly why stress causes belly fat, the science behind it, and what you can actually do about it. First, let's talk about what stress really is. Stress is your body's natural response to perceived threats. When your brain senses danger, whether it's a looming deadline, traffic jam, or personal conflict, it triggers what's called the fight or flight response. This response is designed to prepare your body to either face a threat head-on or escape from it. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing quickens, and your muscles tense up. It's a survival mechanism that has been crucial throughout human evolution. But here's the catch. Our bodies evolved to handle short bursts of stress, not the constant chronic stress that many of us experience today. When stress becomes a constant companion, the mechanisms that were once life-saving start working against us. And belly fat is one of the clearest signs of this misfire. So, what actually happens inside your body when stress triggers belly fat? The main culprit is a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is produced by your adrenal glands, and it's often called the stress hormone because it's released in response to stress. Its job is to mobilize energy, increase blood sugar, and enhance your brain's alertness, basically giving your body the fuel it needs to survive an immediate threat. In short bursts, cortisol is your friend, but chronic stress keeps cortisol levels elevated for days, weeks, or even months, and that's when problems begin. High cortisol has a surprisingly direct impact on fat storage, especially around your abdomen. Research shows that cortisol doesn't just increase fat storage randomly, it actually signals your body to store fat viscerally, which means deep around your organs. This type of fat is different from the subcutaneous fat you can pinch on your arms or thighs. Visceral fat is metabolically active, which means it releases chemicals and hormones that can interfere with insulin, increase inflammation, and raise your risk for heart disease and diabetes. In other words, it's not just cosmetic. Belly fat is a health risk. But why the belly? Why not your hips, thighs, or arms? The answer lies in your body's evolutionary strategy. Cortisol interacts with receptors in fat cells, and abdominal fat cells have a higher density of these receptors. Evolutionarily, storing fat around your midsection made sense. In dangerous situations, your body wanted a quick access energy reserve that could fuel your muscles. Today, though, the threats we face are rarely physical. They're financial stress, work stress, or social stress. Yet your body still reacts as if you need to store energy for survival. Cortisol also has another sneaky effect. It increases appetite, especially cravings for high-calorie, sugary, and fatty foods. That's why stress often leads to emotional eating or stress eating. Your body, under chronic stress, is not only storing fat more efficiently, but also prompting you to eat more energy-dense foods. It's a double whammy. You're literally being pushed by your own hormones toward behaviors that increase belly fat. And there's more. Stress affects other hormones like insulin and ghrelin, which play a role in fat storage and hunger. Cortisol can interfere with insulin sensitivity, making it harder for your body to process glucose efficiently. When your insulin is off balance, your body is more likely to store calories as fat rather than burn them for energy. Meanwhile, ghrelin, known as the hunger hormone, can increase under stress, making you feel hungry even if you've eaten recently. The combination of high cortisol, insulin resistance, and increased ghrelin creates a perfect storm for abdominal fat gain. Physical activity, or rather, the lack of it, also plays a role. Stress often drains our motivation to move. Even if you usually exercise, chronic stress can make it feel exhausting to maintain your routine. Without regular movement, your body has fewer opportunities to burn the extra calories generated by stress-induced appetite, further contributing to fat accumulation. Sleep, or the lack thereof, compounds the problem. Stress disrupts sleep patterns by increasing cortisol and keeping your mind alert when your body should be resting. Poor sleep itself is linked to higher cortisol levels, increased hunger hormones, and more belly fat. It's a vicious cycle. Stress leads to poor sleep, which leads to hormonal changes, which leads to belly fat, which can create more stress about your health and appearance. So what does all this mean for managing stress-related belly fat? The first step is understanding that this isn't just a matter of willpower or discipline. Your body is responding biologically to stress signals. It's not lazy or weak. Trying to out-diet or out-exercise chronic stress often doesn't work if the stress itself isn't addressed. One of the most effective strategies is stress management. Practices like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing exercises, yoga, or even regular time in nature have been shown to reduce cortisol levels. Meditation, for example, can lower cortisol and calm your nervous system, giving your body a chance to stop storing fat around your abdomen. Even a few minutes a day can have measurable effects. Exercise is another key component, but not just any exercise. High-intensity workouts can temporarily spike cortisol, while moderate aerobic exercise like brisk walking, swimming, or cycling can help regulate stress hormones over the long term. Strength training also helps because building muscle improves insulin sensitivity and increases your metabolism, which counteracts some of the fat-storing effects of cortisol. Nutrition matters too, but with a stress-focused lens. Diets high in refined sugar and processed foods can exacerbate the effects of cortisol and insulin resistance. Instead, focus on whole foods rich in fiber, lean protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. These foods stabilize blood sugar, which helps regulate hunger hormones and may reduce the body's tendency to store visceral fat. Certain foods like leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, and berries have additional anti-inflammatory benefits that help your body combat stress on a biochemical level. Sleep hygiene is equally important. Aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night allows your cortisol levels to normalize and gives your body time to repair itself. Simple practices like keeping a consistent sleep schedule, limiting screens before bed, and creating a dark, cool sleeping environment can make a huge difference. Finally, mindset plays a surprisingly large role. Chronic stress is often amplified by our perception of events. Cognitive strategies, such as reframing stressful situations, practicing gratitude, and seeking social support, can reduce the intensity of the stress response. In other words, how you react to stress can be just as important as the stress itself. So the next time you notice your belly feeling heavier after a stressful week, don't panic or punish yourself. Instead, recognize it as your body sending a clear signal. It's time to slow down, care for yourself, and manage the stress that's driving these hormonal changes. The science is clear. Stress makes belly fat for a reason, but the solution is within your reach. With the right strategies, you can calm your cortisol, restore hormonal balance, and finally break the cycle of stress-induced belly fat.